even Zven has had an incredible season, right?
Yeah.
Yes, his KDA did get ruined. He does have 2 deaths now, but still, obviously, he has been dominating pretty much every game. Gragas as the lock-in makes a lot of sense. You already have an AD solo laner, some powerful engage here. Alongside that now from the Gragas, it will be that mid lane pick saved for last year from Pobelter. Rumble left open, could be Rumble mid if C9 wants to be proactive, if they want to be aggressive. This is a pick that I think can get lane dominance and works so well, I think, in the current meta, largely because it revolves around team fighting, around objectives. Rumble, that is the bread and butter for this champion, really does dominate in that regard.
Isaac, looking at that game I just said at TSM Week 4, they played Sett, Varus, and Tom Kench, and Rumble was banned. So now they get to put Rumble in that composition, as they may have wanted to previously, and then Lee Sin. That throws everything off. It was the least before, but whatever. It's still pretty neat. They're going back to something that feels great for Cloud9.
Yeah.
They played almost the same comp there in Week 4.
Tried and true, right? You know,
Yeah.
I think that Varus TK is one of the most common combos down for that bottom lane. We see a lot of players like to go to that Sett. You know, something that Licorice is going to be very, very comfortable on.
Yeah.
Blaber on a proactive playmaker here. Vulcan can look to roam with the ultimate post 6, try to make plays alongside his jungler.
Ooh.
And Nisqy is going to be on this pick that can get lane dominance, that can sometimes push in your opponent, look to really take over in the team fight stage around neutral objectives. But Azir does have a pretty heavy range advantage. So for Pobelter, it's going to be mostly about keeping your distance, avoiding those electro harpoons, the Rumble E, and being able to poke down your opponent, dissuade him from being able to have access to that wave. Because if Rumble has easy access to the wave, he's going to have you under your turret constantly. And Azir really needs to kind of focus on poking Nisqy every time he's moving up into melee range of those minions to try to prevent that.
This will be unique pick number 7 coming in on that Rumble for Nisqy. As we said, it was banned out a bit before, so we may have seen it if it was not banned out. I really like his play style. We're looking at player of the week here, so we'll see what he can put out and if he can really make impact plays with this. I like the kind of objective fight control that Cloud9 can have, but I do like what CLG has. Clear win conditions, make sure Azir can be in the fights once you get an engage in from Gragas, and let all hell break loose with the bullet time.
Yeah, a lot of displacement on this team between Gragas as well as that Shurima shuffle from Azir being available. I do think that we see a very powerful team fighting squad here over on CLG. Likewise on Cloud9, their team fight is going to be pretty powerful. I do think that they are indexing more heavily towards the early stages of the game, you know, with picks like this Rumble and Lee Sin and Sett. You know, these are champions that I think can look to scrap early, are very effective, you know, at one item, and can really try to fight for those objectives. So I do think we're going to see 9 try to play for lane priority, look to go to dragons, look to stack dragons, stack Rift Heralds, as we see Jack in the crowd. His father there, I do believe.
Tengu. All right, we are about to get into game 8-0. Cloud9 looking for that perfect first half of the split. The Counter Logic Gaming that is 1-4 in their last 5 games is now Pobelter takes the reins for this team from the mid lane to see if he can switch it around here in week 5. We are on the Rift.
Predator Rumble, too. This is pretty spicy. I do like it. This is something I have seen actually, you know, in Korean solo queue. It is coming up sometimes in pro as well. It is less about the lane, obviously.
Right.
It is much more about the roam, the playmaking. You try to shove in your lane and you pop Predator, you run down the river to bot lane, you run up the river to top lane, you try to make plays happen, and it really does allow you to kind of get around the map very, very consistently. He is also going to be playing both Water Walking and Celerity. So it's all about roaming up and down out of mid lane with this setup.
And as everybody gets into position, let's throw it down to Pastry Time, who has a word with the coaches.
I'm here with Weldon. Weldon, Pobelter coming into the squad very last minute. What was it kind of like bringing him into the team?
I think Eugene's really plug and play. I think that he's got a lot of the, especially since he was actively coaching when he was like not playing, he's got a lot of the current meta and like a macro perspective. So it's been a really easy week as far as that.
And was there anything that you specifically worked on with him as far as integrating him into the team?
Well, I mean, he hasn't been scrimming for a while, so he doesn't get the low ping scrims. So I think for him, it's just adjusting to that.
All right, well, certainly, hopefully it's a good game today. Weldon, thank you very much for joining me. Back to the boys for the cast.
Oh, that is a brutal start for Wiggily, as Licorice just straight up runs in level 1. So that was actually the Facebreaker start, the E start on Sett. Run in, you can clap them together with the little raptors there. They spotted out where Wiggily would be starting, and Wiggily got nothing from that beginning camp. He loses his red, he loses his raptors, and Pobelter's gonna get ganked here mid lane.
low, and he's going to keep himself safe. No flash coming out from that. It doesn't look like there was too much used on the other side as well.
Yeah, just a little bit of poke, so probably did just kind of have to E backwards. But this is going to be a 3 buff now because Blaber crosses mid lane, gets a little bit of pressure. No time wasted in that move. It's not like he was hanging around the side brush. Quick gank mid, straight to your red buff. This is very, very efficient pathing from Blaber, and it's going to be an early advantage for him. We can see Wiggily went back to base very early on. It was actually
pink wards.
Off of one camp, Wiggily had to base, and yeah, he buys the pink wards. He can't afford anything else. He's heading up to those Krugs on the top side, but his red's going to be gone. So, I mean, you can look to actually try to pull off some sort of a gank here, but I think he only got the one camp, just the wolf, so he won't even be level 3. So Wiggily might try to go to his opponent's blue now and hope that Blaber is looking for a reset and try to catch up in that way. But yeah, Wiggily level 2, 3 minutes into the game, he's going to be feeling pretty sad.
Well, luckily you have an Azir, likes to scale up. Don't have to do too much just now. Maybe you would like a gank in the next few levels. You know, that can still help to take down a Rumble. Not the hardest to gank in the short lane there. He can just scrap shield away, but...
It's tough though, right? You know, even if you can always say, oh yeah, we're scaling, but you know, if you lose too much priority in the jungle, then all of a sudden, you know, the invades are going to continue. All the objectives are going to be going your opponent's way. You know, Licorice coming in, clearing out a ward, so Wiggily spotted, and again, still level 2. He has to path to the other side of the map or wait for his Raptors to respawn. But Cloud9 has the timer. They could actually just meet him at his Raptors here, and I think Blaber's going to run straight up and find him.
Oh, don't separate yourself from the Raptors. I thought he was actually going to get a Q in there just above. Go ahead and steals the big one.
Oh,
There's not
4
going
to
to be
level
too
2.
much more for Wiggily. Still level 2.
He's already
4
dead.
minutes in.
Leave the poor guy alone. Wiggily having a tough one. But we'll be able to go and get level 3 finally here. Blaber very far ahead in experience, very far ahead in farm, so going to be feeling great about the early levels. But you can see Pobelter doing well. This is what I was kind of talking about in this matchup. You know, Nisqy can clear the wave very quickly, but when you move up into that minion wave, you're exposing yourself to the poke, the soldiers coming out from the Azir, and that is why Pobelter has that HP advantage. But Nisqy wanted to go for a reset, so he commits his health to actually just push out the wave, goes for a base, has the Predator boots now, so actually just going to TP right back. I wouldn't have been surprised to see him actually just Predator back the lane. That is a pretty common move, but he clearly wants to keep the pressure up and potentially deny some sort of a free recall there from Pobelter to kind of keep him with no mana in lane if he can.
And you can see kind of the trouble it's causing for Stixxay and Smoothie. Zven and Vulcan keep pushing in, hail of arrows after piercing arrow, and it's just taking Stixxay down. He's about 20% HP right now and trying to farm under the turret.
And I mean, that's one of the kind of the unseen costs of your jungler getting behind.
Right.
Is when Wiggily is this screwed in the game, as a C9 laner, you know he's not going to gank me. He can't do anything. Like, he just has to, you know, be scared for so long. Because if you ever get counter ganked, you're so screwed when you're down 2 levels this early. So Cloud9, you can push with kind of reckless abandon. They have created leads from that as a result. You know, on the bot side, on the top side, Licorice will be up a couple minions as he picks up the rest of these. Has expended his teleport, but you know, things looking very good for them early on. 600 gold lead without a kill, and they're grabbing their first dragon here just shortly after it spawned.
Zven backing as well on the bot side. He gets away from farm to make sure he can see everybody coming in. Predator boots are out now for Wiggily, so he can try to get some action onto the map. Top lane's going to be a hard gank with a shield coming up. Licorice could usually walk away from most situations, even at low health. And scrap shield for Nisqy makes him difficult as well, unless that flash is down to maybe make it a little bit easier to get him.
Yeah, it is worth noting, though, that this is the nerfed Rumble. So this is the nerfed Scrap Shield, you know, where it did lose, I believe, 20 shielding at rank 1. And because it is the thing that you actually skill up last, for almost the entire game, you have a Scrap Shield that is half as effective as it used to be. And that's why it kind of fell out of the perma pick ban that it had been sitting in. But, you know, Wiggily farming his way back in this, you know, now level 4, trying to stay relevant. He knows he needs to avoid fighting as much as he can. And this is one of those games where you just kind of have to have a strong mental. You need to be resilient. You need to not get too frustrated. Yes, your early game went very poorly, but guess what? If you can actually, you know, slowly farm back in this, make one good gank happen, you can kind of catapult yourself ahead of your opponent.
Don't have to worry too much about Ruin and Licorice on the top side. Just 2 bruisers going at it, so Wiggily knows. Maybe mid, maybe towards bot. It is 48 to 66 there, so there's going to be an ult discrepancy once Zven and Vulcan can hit 5 and 6 here. But Stixxay and Smoothie have actually been under the turret soaking it up, so they are 5 and 5.
Yeah, fairly even as far
Yeah,
as the
actually,
experience
pretty
does
even.
go. Blaber now, he's 6, and this is a very early 6, so they are going to look to base breaker, pull him in, but not going to connect. So that will be the end of that gank. If you could have clapped him up there, there is the potential to actually, flash behind him and ult him back into the team. These types of plays, but Pobelter, seeing Lee Sin top, does get a ward down on the Raptors, so gonna have to know that he will be tracked across the map for Blaber. The team should have information on him really for the next couple of minutes, and this means that CLG should not be vulnerable on this bottom side either, because they saw Blaber starting up the red. You should have the timings on this.
Vulcan stepping forward. Doesn't actually need 6. It's Abyssal Voyage. You're not going to be doing that in a fight. As long as you have your Chain of Corruption, they can start playing strong. And they push Stixxay back into the turret one more time. No eyes just yet on Wiggily, but they still feel safe to be here with a few wards pushed up into the jungle and one in the river there.
Yeah, the CS disadvantage is kind of concerning, though. This early on, as we're going to have a pause, but it's a 22 CS advantage down on that bottom side. And what makes this more concerning for me is that Stixxay is actually going for the laning build, right? This is triple Dorans against an opponent who is actually, building towards a Blade of the Rune King, right? So when he completes that Blade of the Rune King, your gold is so much more efficient than that of the individual Dorans. It becomes, a really, really powerful spike. Your first full item is going to be set back quite a lot by doing these triple Dorans build. So if you lose lane while doing it, it generally means your mid game is going to be probably even worse.
So how do you see the fights kind of setting up here for Chronologic Gaming? We talked about a lot of displacement, but if you are behind, what becomes kind of your optimal setup?
I think for now, for CLG, they just want to kind of play it slow and try to farm it out, right? There is an advantage, obviously, for Cloud9, but it's only 400 gold, and the longer you get into the game, the less that actually does matter. So if they can keep these lanes, fairly even from this point, yes, they are at a disadvantage, but if they can farm evenly from here, they're going to be pretty happy. As far as the actual playing out of the fights, it's largely dependent, I think, on Wiggily or Pobelter to find a fight. Most of the duty for engaging is going to go on Wiggily, and if he can ult someone in, that is going to be who they're going to look to burst down. Lock him up with the Braum, burst them down with the MF and the Azir, and it's going to be that kind of more engage and then kill whatever's in front of you type of play.
All right, we are sending them back into game, so we're about to get back onto the Rift in just a second. And underway, stopwatches are soon to be up here in the next few minutes, so we can expect a couple plays happening. As we are still waiting for now Infernal, so we'll get a Cloud or an Ocean again to be our soul.
Yeah, so it could be the Ocean again, as you say, and that is always concerning if you are on the team getting snowballed. And they're looking for a potential 4-man play here. Nisqy's actually rolling down.
That initial damage before Smoothie could get the shield up absolutely meant he was going down in that situation. Stixxay uses Summoner Heal and Bullet Time in the same instance.
Yeah, Smoothie going down there just gets absolutely erased. They didn't even need to actually wait for Nisqy. Pobelter was following on the roam, so it was actually the Predator coming out from Nisqy. He wanted to look for a potential 4-man play or just be there in case someone was there to support. But they're able to get a pretty easy kill. First Blood goes over onto Blaber, who already had that jungle advantage. This does allow him to complete the Warrior. Is going to be feeling pretty good about his position in this game.
Give the aggressive early jungler a reason to be more aggressive. And to see where he goes with this one. Going to be towards the top side of the map. Licorice doing a good job clearing out some far side orbs.
It's also worth noting, Blaber didn't have to expend anything. He just queued in, took the kill, wanders out, right? So it's not like
jungler life.
And all the hard work done by the bot lane, glory taken by the jungler. But it's not as though he had to expend flash or ultimate or anything. So he can very comfortably move up the top side, start this Rift Herald, knowing that he has everything ready for any potential turn into a fight that they might want to go for. And CLG, they may know that this is happening, but they're really not in a position to challenge. Top lane has pressure, mid lane, right now, you would favor the Rumble if it came down to that team fight, having the early equalizer, and Lee Sin is way stronger.
All the pressure on the bot side and pretty much the rest of the map means no lane swaps have to happen here as Rift Herald goes down on top, and with just a minute left on Infernal. So really great timing on the map by Cloud9 here to have everything they want in position. Teleport should be coming up here in Licorice just in time for that fight as well.
Having that TP available will be very nice, as you say, 30 seconds. And that is going to be the target for C9. Anytime you go for these types of kind of like brawly, earlier game focus type comps, you want to be snowballing objectives, because that is often how you're going to secure the late game for yourselves. Scaling disadvantages don't really matter that much if you're able to created an enormous advantage through the grab of a Dragon Soul and, huge gold leads and these types of things. So CLG, when you fall behind with these types of comps and you have an Azir, it's like you want to play defensive and farm, but at the same time, you can only give up so much before farming no longer matters, before your scaling no longer is going to be enough to keep you in it.
C9 quickly onto this Drake, because we thought it would be uncontested with the way they're moving around the map currently.
Yeah.
Cloud will change the rift, so it actually works in CLG's favor a bit.
Yeah, it's not going to be the Ocean. Cloud very strong, but it is not just like that straight up combat power. You have your ultimate up more often. Move speed is very good. Don't get me wrong, it's a great advantage. But Ocean often just feels like auto win. Cloud is not always that. They do have some long cooldown ultimates though, which are going to be feeling pretty nice. Having that Cloud Soul, if they can pick up a couple of dragons for themselves. And they also have the Rift Herald available. So they want to look to make a play here, potentially grab a kill and turn that into, maybe a first turret or something. But you can see how this matchup is getting actually pretty tough for Nisqy, right? He's just getting poked up every time he walks up to actually shove in that wave. Pobelter is there punishing him, and he's just focusing on pushing back the Rumble and then securing control of that wave.
Pobelter nearly the highest CS in the game compared to Zven's bot lane. Rift Herald's going to go out and try brush, and they're going to be getting this one hard. It's still got 3 plates, so you're going to see 1 plate up after Rift Herald hits it. And they may be able to drop that turret down now as they start to pressure off Stixxay a little bit more with the rest of CLG. Don't have the minions to do it just yet, though.
Yeah, could have been a lot worse for CLG. They will still lose first tower, but the Varus ultimate did whiff, so they weren't able to connect on someone with that. Stixxay gets out without even having to blow a summoner, and that is the teleport, that is the ultimate. That is a fairly expensive play to make, and Pobelter was able to push in waves, deny more experience, pick up some plates for himself. So good play from C9, but not all bad from CLG. And it's not as though they just had their back broken here and the game is over. They are getting some more moderate advantages elsewhere, and mostly it feels like a lot of the pressure is going to be on Pobelter, because he's the one doing the best on the team.
Yeah.
He is the new member to the team. He's subbing back in, taking over 4 crown, already doing pretty damn well. He's up well over 10 CS per minute, and he is going to have the ability to potentially carry on this champion.
Something we've seen from Pobelter in the past as well. He has had phases of kind of like, where's Pobelter? What's he doing? Is he in mid lane? Is he just roaming? I feel like this is a chance for him to kind of step back up into that. I am an aggressive Pobelter. I have one of the biggest unique champion pools you'll see on the Rift, and he can really bring out a lot of diverse plays. Looks like it's almost on point for him here. Just has to have the good fight set up. C9 has been avoiding that and creating their own fights that are working. I love the use of Rift Herald towards the bot side of the map. Zven, get that power into a different lane. Let Vulcan start to roam a little bit more as well and get Zven even bigger.
Yep, exactly. They just drop that Rift bot, then they make the swap happen. Licorice goes down towards that bottom side in the extended lane against Ruin, where he's going to feel pretty comfortable. And they can continue trying to extend this bot lane advantage, right? Zven and Vulcan have been running the show down there, and you would expect them to be able to continually pressure. They make that rotation up top. They do get a quick plate, and it's a Blade of the Rune King already completed now, plus that Zerker Greaves. So this is kind of that point I was talking about, where you have that first major item, and the MF is pretty set back, both in farm, but also with this triple Doran's build. So if you're looking at combat potency right here, it's all about the Varus, and they're going to just rotate up towards this top side. Blaber actually just pushes out Pobelter, and they just make a 4-man move up top. Doesn't matter that the gank didn't happen. He's going in!
Oh, the double kick. They're going to get Smoothie there. Stixxay as well is starting to burn up a little bit, but he's able to fire back on a Blaber. Bullet time across Cloud9, but it's like hitting a brick wall for Stixxay. Here comes the rest of the team. Both Belter trying to get in with the shuffle, just short on Blaber. But the play was there. Blaber was just able to see it ahead of time. Now Pobelter may go down under the turret. Licorice is going to have a 2v1 behind enemy lines as they get Pobelter down for kill number 1. Licorice is still in the fight by himself as the team starts to recoup. And they're going to get the top turret for themselves. Cloud9 standing tall in every fight that's brought to them.
And it is plays like this that have made C9 special this split. The ability to blow open the game. It has felt like CLG is hanging on, hanging on, hanging on. They pressure mid lane. They push out Pobelter, allowing Nisqy to make this early roam. And then this play is a thing of beauty from Blaber. Q's to the Braum, flashing behind the MF, avoiding the Braum ultimate, and kicking the MF back through the Braum. So setting themselves up very well. Nisqy can then flash in, finish off these kills, and then this quick ward hop. Pobelter looking for the Azir sec there, flashing behind and knock back in Blaber and try to take down that kill. But Blaber just too quick with that ward hop, is able to avoid it. Licorice is zoning multiple members on the side, so they're able to have a 4v1 dive onto Pobelter. No chance for him to survive, and Ruin even has to flash out. Now over a 4,000 gold lead with the 2 dragons, 2 towers down, Cloud9 in full control.
C9 making all those champs look unkillable. These are the times you're like, I'm gonna go in and play that champ, and then you just die over and over. You're like, how did they do it? How do you just stand in a bullet time? Well, it's a lot of work in the early game that they did, a lot of aggression and pressure they kept on the bot side, and it is just not allowing CLG to fight more formidably at this point.
And it's knowing your limits, right? It's knowing exactly how much you can withstand, when you have to expend those cooldowns, where to use the abilities, what angles you can actually successfully engage from. And this is one of the things with Cloud9 where they make what looks like a pretty crazy aggressive play, but they go for these types of plays all the time. So they have so much more experience than a lot of the other teams in the league. And as a result, are going to know their limits better, are going to know what can be a successful dive every time, even if on paper, it's looking pretty risky.
4-0 as Rift Herald hits the 2nd tier turret in mid, a very nice equalizer. Cooks down Smoothie and almost takes him out as he's locked in place, and now C9 can choose to stop or go forward, and it's going to be to push some more waves and get the Drake.
Yeah, they're just going to grab the dragon. So, you know, that is a really nice setup. Zven nails the ultimate this time. Nisqy just layers his equalizer over top. And yes, it is unlikely that you will kill them there because you don't have your flashes and everything to dive. But that's not actually what they were looking for. Exactly. They're pushed out, they lose their tier 2, which means they're also ceding control of the Dragon Pit. 3rd straight Dragon for Cloud9 at 17 minutes. They're looking at potentially a 22-minute Soul with a monumental gold lead. And CLG, at this point, it's desperation time. It's time to start looking for plays. It's time to start looking for picks, because if you can't slow down the clock a little bit here, there's no chance you're really going to be in the game by the time Azir gets the items that he needs.
You know, Azael, I am absolutely convinced that Cloud9 heard there was no longer a regional qualifier, so they had to just speed run the regular season and only take 1st place. Nothing else can do. We have no other way to get to Worlds now with regional qualifier out, so we'll just win. It seems to be working out.
Just win. It's a good strategy.
It's a good mentality. Well, why not? Doing so good throughout each game and kind of diversifying the champions. They do it across well. And here, you said before, the fastest game time average that they're able to put out globally, and it looks like they may even put another tick down on that.
Yeah, they're looking to be on pace to do that. You can see Zven is at a ridiculously strong point. This bot lane advantage is honestly pretty out of control. Over 2,400 gold ahead of Stixxay. Zven has an entire item above his opponent, sitting on that Rage Blade plus the Blade of the Rune King. If this guy gets any free time because he is so far ahead of the curve, people are going to be falling down very, very quickly. So you feel like you have to pick off Zven, right? You have to start a fight by killing him. But guess what? He has Vulcan standing behind him on Tom Kench, who acts as that defensive item, who acts as that shield for him. So it becomes incredibly difficult to really access that back line and punish Zven.
Looking at where the waves are getting pushed up here. Mid lane slowly being carried up. Zven's actually holding position there. And we have Sett on the bottom side. Licorice now going to bring this around. Pobelter does not have TP, so he's trying to get top turret down, at least get a bit more global gold in the pocket of his team here for a few more finished items, as they're going to be forced to fight in front of their base. One of the kind of great spots for Azir to fight when you can get people in a choke point, but in your base means that's some serious times. You got to start playing strong.
Yeah, pretty good wave clear still from CLG to thin out a lot of this wave, but C9 is not going to be dissuaded. They don't want to take just a trade, so it's actually the ult committed just to try to wave clear, because Pobelter was trading a tower, but he's not back here, so C9 says, what? Oh my God!
Kick in! You gotta be kidding me, Blaber! He's gonna go down to the turret, he gets locked in place a little too close for the aggression. That's a great shuffle backward. Cloud9 may have bit off a little more than they can chew. It did get Pobelter back in time for the fight, and now it's gonna be Cloud9 getting wiped out. They are still very far ahead in this game, but CLG can breathe a sigh of relief for another chance to fight again.
CLG get the ace off that, but damn, Blaber! That kick was so nutty.
I didn't even know those dots could be connected. That was ridiculous.
We gotta watch that again. CLG are back in it, but that kick from Blaber was something else. Mom, get the camera, because Blaber is here. Watch this. Q to Smoothie, ward hop beside Stixxay, kick flash onto him, all in the blink of an eye. but Stixxay able to close the gap, and honestly, Licorice dunking him away from the team, a little bit of a misplay there. Licorice probably should have tried to flash behind, then ult him back in.
Right.
Licorice actually creating distance for Stixxay away from his team, wasn't able to finish him off himself. So C9 do overstep, Pobelter gets back to base, and they are able to make it happen. CLG fighting back in this game, but they did lose that inhibitor tower, and it is Dragon Soul available for C9 in about a minute.
You know what's funny, Azael? I was just about to say that. Before that fight, Cloud9's taking down their near second inhibitor turret as they fought a bit on the first one. It was 4-0. C9's avoiding fights. They're doing it so well. They're able to get... Oh, there goes Blaber. It's like, really? But you can see how they kind of did change the pace of their game. They had been taking things very methodically, orchestrating around the fight so to not get aggressed on, and then they said, let's pull the trigger. We can do it.
I mean, that's the thing. When you want to play on the knife's edge, when you want to go for these really aggressive plays, you know, that could have potentially been a game ender if they actually kill them all there, right? If you instantly kill Stixxay and you make that fight happen, you are also going to take the bad end of some of those fights where your opponents outplay you, or opponents, you know, are able to react properly. So those are the risks that you have to be willing to take to really make it happen. But CLG punished Cloud9 this time around. They are now down just over 3K, but that is a much more manageable disadvantage. And if they can actually stop Cloud9 from grabbing this dragon, maybe they can make something happen.
Oh, that's a lot of damage to start off onto Licorice. He's going to have to throw the shield out to start this off, and that means the fight. So Cloud9 is not starting on their own terms. CLG is. Equalizer's behind, and that's not going to cook too many up. It just welcomes CounterLogic Gaming to the next portion of the fight. Ruin getting a bit of fire on the back feathers there, but he is going to stay safe as they walk up with a minion wave. And now what is Soul spawned in the den.
Yeah, C9 have a really strong 4-man squad, so they're still just going to move towards it. This should be gone before CLG can respond. But can CLG chase them down? Because Pobelter is here on the side. He has his ultimate. Can he make the shuffle?
Oh, they see him right around the corner. Chain of Corruption comes out immediately, and that's going to be an instant kill with a Blade of the Rune King active coming out from Zven. The kill goes over to Nisqy, and now they chase CLG away. A quick lick from Vulcan to slow down Smoothie. All the way through goes Blaber, and he gets devoured up for safety. Looks like they'll be able to finish off the kill now on to Smoothie.
Here's the
as
TP.
they move through. It's a never-ending fight. Cloud9 is relentless once they start, and the fuse has been lit on this one. They're not going for the base. They're going for Baron.
Yeah, that's Soul, and that's going to be Baron too. Licorice, honestly, a little bit lucky that his team is that far ahead to bail him out of that situation, because I do think that's two pretty poor ultimates back-to-back.
Yeah.
Licorice really gave one away there in that mid lane, but Cloud9 in the 4v5, so strong, able to push out their opponents, grab the Soul, get additional kills, and take the Baron. 6,000 ahead. 4 dragons to 0. So here's the 4v5 one more time. CLG know they need to chase for it. They needed to contest. So Pobelter is going to look to make it happen. It's a tough situation because he knows he's spotted on the pink, but also if you don't go in there, you have no chance of chasing them down. The game's probably over anyway.
Yeah.
So he's going to go for that low percentage play. Doesn't work out though, but Nisqy able to chase down multiple members, roasting him up, and as the TP came in from Licorice, with Wiggily going down, there was no chance CLG could actually stop the Baron play here.
Wiggly still finding a way to get those items under his belt, though, which is huge for him this game. With the start that they had, CounterLogic Gaming definitely holding in. And against Cloud9, they've been able to stave off the first attack towards the bot side, but there are many more to come, and it will test CounterLogic Gaming.
We've got to see how well can you withstand the siege. Because Cloud9, the trend this split has been first Baron, they end the game. We'll see, can CLG hang on? It is quite early in the game. They still have very good wave clear. You know, with this Azir as well as the MF. Gragas actually one of the best junglers to help out with that too, you know, throwing the barrels in. But one mistake can mean game ender here, and we know that Cloud9 have the confidence to look for those types of risky plays, as evidenced by really this whole season.
Blaber looking to make sure nobody flanks around the team. He's staying far off on the side, also able to help Licorice if they need it. And a few ultimates are just going to deter CounterLogic Gaming from staying under the turret. Nice devour on Zven as they keep him safe. And Cloud9 just working multiple points of the map right now. They are going to have a minion wave crashing in towards the bottom side. That inhibitor's not up yet. Or down, I should say. But those minions are still pushing in.
Yeah, they were trying to use that same combo that they used mid lane earlier to push them back out. Zven drops the ult, then Equalizer over it. But they actually, you know, really only got the Equalizer onto Smoothie, and Nisqy was pretty late on dropping it, so didn't get much out of it. little bit of an execution error there, but they have Blaber pushing in mid lane. No one is answering Blaber right now, so turret damage going to be happening. Zven just steps up with Vulcan behind him.
Smoothie goes in, Glacial Fisher forward. That shift's not going to hit anybody. Emperor's Divide is just going to fizzle out. Stixxay has no room to do anything. He's low on health, and he's going to be found by Blaber on the backside. Now 3 members of Logic Gaming, no 4, try to find solace under their turret, but they're all going to go down one by one. The Quadra possibly coming up now for Blaber. Connect the Q, but it's a quick lick coming in from Vulcan on the bot side. Beautifully done as they take down the inhibitor. Cloud9 will be onto the Nexus turrets, and the perfect halfway split of 9-0 for themselves in spring is going to happen. They have a lot of games to go until it's 18-0, but they are looking great as they start off halfway in spring 2020. Cloud9 take the Nexus over Logic Gaming.
9-0, 26-minute win. Who can stop this team, Riv? They are looking damn good. Able to snowball that one incredibly fast. They just make it look so easy to close out games. We have seen so many teams with games stalled out against them where they can't end with Baron, they can't end with multiple Barons. Cloud9 is able to find the angles and able to execute on these dives and on these plays that other teams are unable or unwilling to go for, and that is why they're head and shoulders above the rest of the league right now. They are dominating.
High five, high five, high five. Cloud9 very happy. And I think it comes from a lot of different building blocks that they have in place that continue to work. They always set something in motion in the early game. This time it was getting in the head of Wiggily. And they always are playing well in each lane, but they're also moving exactly on time when things are spawning and whatnot. Put those all together and it's so hard to come back if you're only doing one of those 3, but there's even more than 3.
Yeah.
Cloud9's been absolutely crazy this split. So everybody, when we come back, Pastry Time is ready to hear from Licorice on that 9-0 start.